Cincinnati 911, what's the address of your emergency?
2544 Harrison Avenue. Did you please send an ambulance to 2544 Harrison Avenue?
Tell me what happened. Yes, ma'am, I'll send them.
I don't know. Somebody is right here. They just got shot. 911, I need somebody to come to Harrison and McHenry. A couple girls assaulted me, and they stole my phone, and there's just blood everywhere. Can you just please hurry?
Okay, we have it in. We're going to get somebody out there as soon as we can, okay? We've been very busy in District 3, okay?
My daughter was robbed at 2444 Harrison Avenue in Westwood.
I'm on Harrison Avenue. My leg broke. I got shot. I got a bullet in my leg.
Be in there with you.
What's the address? I can't bleed it down, please.
The bad days were tough. There were shootings all the time, violence, crime, break-ins.
This corner was obviously a hotbed.
We saw continual increases in shootings. We saw neighborhoods that people were just frustrated. People didn't feel like the police were responsive.
When the market got shut down, there came a question of anxiety towards what's going to fill the vacuum. Because anytime you pull a criminal element out, crime usually tries to find a way to come back in.
We would come, we'd have a limited success, the problem would come back and maybe become even worse.
You had a community that basically lost control of itself. You had people in the community, good people, hardworking people, who probably felt hopeless and helpless in terms of recapturing their community.
In East Westwood, in that pivot location, there were 18 gunshot victims in 1 year. In 2015, there were 18 gunshot victims. And that was concentrated so tightly that there were really 2 street blocks that were affected by that.
First 2 crime sites that were identified as having the most violent crime was a block of East Westwood near Baltimore and McHenry. And the second location was a block of territory in Westwood, which is just up the road here at McHenry and Harrison.
If you imagine being a resident sitting on a porch of one of those street blocks, you would see all this from your front porch, from your bedroom window.
The bad old days were real, but so are the people who decided to change it. Folks from the neighborhood, city government, the police, city services, not-for-profits, the church. They all came together because no one thing caused the terror in Westwood and East Westwood, so no one person could solve it either. It would take an alliance. It would take a revolution. It was time to pivot.
PIVOT stands for Place-Based Investigations of Violent Offender Territories. So the idea of PIVOT is bringing everybody to the table, not just the police department, the fire department, everybody, law department, public services, waterworks, the community councils. We need the communities there and the members that live there.
All of us, we pull together for the revolution. One of the things we have to do is begin to understand that I don't have to go to Africa. I don't have to go overseas. You're in a war zone right here. God bless you. We know that there's people in other countries that need our help, but right here in our country, we need your help.
With NEP and Pivot, we've been able to help them to recapture their community.
In the 1980s, there was a series of studies conducted in which they started looking at where crime occurred. And they found out that a very small proportion of places actually accounted for the majority of crime. So the idea that places connected to the crime is really grounded in the fact that crime is not random. We know that crime concentrates. It concentrates among offenders, concentrates among victims, and it concentrates at places.
That's really where it comes into an awesome partnership between buildings and inspections and the police department. Many times the police department is dealing with the people side of it, but from building and inspection side, we can deal with it from the place side of it. Most criminal activity, the places they hide into, aren't the best kept properties in our city. So we have tools to deal with blight, and that blight can then eliminate the hiding place for criminal activity.
But we didn't really think about places the way that we thought about offenders. So very early on, we learned that offenders were networked.
Well, you know, everybody talking about all the negative and bad thing. Well, I mean, what could you do? What can you do to change everything?
If we could disrupt those networks, we could reduce crime among those offender groups. But we never really thought about places and how places were networked.
The reason we're being revolutionary now is because we're solving the problems in this community within a year because we're doing it together. right? Because I love you. I'm telling you, I appreciate what you guys are doing. They don't have anything. You're doing your job.
To be embraced by Rodney and Reggie is hugely important. Rodney and I didn't know each other. Reggie and I didn't know each other 18 months or 2 years ago before this project began. I think over the course of this project, we've kind of both reached out at certain important times and developed this relationship. And so I think as a result of that, we've built trust.
He's going out there and he makes a decision every morning that I may have to die for somebody. Am I lying?
No.
A lot of people got to understand police got the dangerous job. They more important than your friend sometimes. You call your friend, I'm over here in Westwood, I'm in a gun shootout. He's gonna be like, man, I ain't coming out. You call the police, it's 30 of them there. They bringing their gang to help you and they don't even know you. So it all depends on how you look at the police. Don't judge one and say they all bad.
I can't believe that our entire police force is out to get me. I can't do it. I can't believe that.
Can't believe that.
I cannot believe that because
we won't believe that.
And we won't believe it because I know when he puts on his shirt every morning, he makes a decision that we don't have to make. He says, I'm going out here. You want to come home to your children. You got a family?
Of course.
You want to go home to your family?
I do.
So he don't walk out the door thinking that I'm gonna clear and shoot every black citizen. The decision he makes is that I'm gonna make every citizen in Cincinnati safe. And when he steps out the door and get in his car, we appreciate you for that.
To see where things have been and where things have come is hugely important. And so now we're 150 days since there has been a gunshot victim in that pivot location. And so that brings me a lot of hope. That brings me a lot of hope that the people that live and work and play in that area have a safer place to play.
Under the shield of this new alliance, the community was able to build and grow.
When we talked to people in the community in the beginning, we asked the community to tell us what their needs are. So one of the needs in the NEP, both in East Westwood and Westwood, was a need for an increase in recreation, and there's also a need for an increase in fresh food.
Really what's awesome is that we're gonna have a playground at this end of McHenry and a playground on the other end of McHenry. I was actually talking to someone and they were like, well, isn't that a lot of playgrounds for this area? And I'm like, no, it's not. And the guy was like, well, you know, actually, now that I think about it, there's a playground like almost every other block here around where I live, and so why can't our kids have the same thing?
And so at the other end of the NEP, at Harrison and McHenry and Westwood, the site of the former U.S. Market, when the police and all their excellent work were able to shut down the U.S. Market and all the illegal activity there, then that space is just waiting. And when the community talked about what that place could be and start dreaming the dream, and then one of the other anchor institutions, the Jubilee Project, came in.
Market got shut down, law enforcement did their job, the city attorney's office, they did their job. And so it was a question of what could we do with the market as a community? And so it was a conversation of we'd be willing to go after it, and we would be willing to go after the money to go and get it. And then we would put the partners together to be able to turn it into something that was sustainable. And so this is not a free store, it is a thrift store. And if you can't afford to purchase something here, you can volunteer on one of our houses. You can come and do something in the neighborhood. There's ways of building collateral that can get exchanged. In Bracken Woods, where we're growing fresh fruits and vegetables, we're selling non-chemical, non-herbicide, non-pesticide produce in a store for less than Save-A-Lot, and folks can buy 3 times as much. So we're adding value to the neighborhood and exchanging dollars to give them a larger impact.
And when we wrapped up the NEP, it was at the grand opening of the Jubilee Market.
Right.
When we unveiled that sign, and people were so excited, that was just literally reclaiming that space. And that space now looks totally different. There's just a different feel. When you go up to Harrison and McHenry, you just feel lighter, safer. It's just a different aura there than it was before.
Cincinnati Urban Promise is basically a ministry that is working in the neighborhood with families. Most of what we do is youth development. We run a mentoring program and after-school stuff, and also a summer enrichment program. Basically a fun place and a safe place for the kids to be here in the neighborhood.
You're putting in a child care center that will service children between the ages of 6 weeks up to age 12. It is an actual learning center. It's a great addition to Cincinnati Urban Promise.
This is the first NEP where we've brought two communities together, East Westwood and Westwood. Also the first time that the NEP has followed our innovative new crime fighting strategy, Pivot. We've accomplished quite a lot over the last 90 days: crime reduction, cleanup efforts, and amazing community projects. These successes are just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to continue this momentum into the future and have several projects in the works that we're all very excited about.
Everything that you need to make Westwood a success is in Westwood. We don't need to go outside of Westwood, and we've proven that. All you have to do is open your door and start talking to your neighbor.
I would like this joint effort to be remembered as something that helped people change lives, and I think most importantly, where people felt hope that things could be better for themselves and their families right where they live.
Happy day.